Greetings, folks. Guess what? It's time to go a meandering. So welcome to episode 16. And with that being said, I'm going to shut this thing and I'm going to just drive. I'll talk at you when I get somewhere. And we'll see what we do see. Well, good evening to you folks. As you can probably tell by that pitter-patter on the roof, it is raining a little bit. So, ended up being kind of interesting. I left Seattle, or I should say Linwood, and it was all sunny, and the storms had passed, and as I drove deeper into the mountains, well, I basically chased the storm in until I got right back into the thick of it. And so we've had several days of pretty intensive rain, high winds, and it's been sort of off and on actually over the last week and a half, but we'll get a few days of it and then it'll clear up for a day and then a few more days of it. Kind of very typical Pacific Northwest weather, or at least I should say Western Washington weather. This is what we get. It's why we get 130 some odd inches of rain up in the mountains every year. This is a rainforest after all. During the summer, it bellies that because, it's fairly dry and rocky and you can get all over back up in the high country and it's just beautiful and you might get a little mist or a little drizzle now and again. But as soon as it decides it's fall here, it just starts raining. And most of the time, how that starts out is with high winds and massive amounts of water that come gushing down from the skies. Results in all sorts of flooding, road washouts, tree falls, mudslides. It gets a little crazy up in these mountains in the fall. So we'll see what that means, but I think what that means for you folks is you'll probably see a whole lot of raging rivers and waterfalls on this trip. But let's see how I weather the night, because it's raining heavily now, and it's probably going to snow in a little bit. Anyway, good night. Well, hello there. It's morning, and it's wet. It's still raining heavy. Man, it rained heavy all night long and got really windy. It was just kind of an exciting night. I actually slept pretty good, but despite all that. So sorry guys, not going to be the most exciting episode. You are going to get dash cam footage and a hell of a lot of water features on this trip. So, I suppose with all that being said, it's about time for me to get my stuff together and hit the road. It was so rainy I couldn't even get out this morning and make coffee like I normally do. So I moved my cooler to the front seat and set up the stove back there and made my coffee. So at least I have that, and that makes me a happy camper. Alright, I will talk at you when we get to something cool. Until then, good morning. the week before deer season is waterfalls hunting season. So many waterfalls. I wish I could capture them all on video, but some of them would require more skill than I got. Let's leave it at that. Wow, waterfall season. I like it. No more road. Man, that river is just roaring down there. Beauty is, though, is I think we might actually get some sunlight here in a minute, which is great because I am out of coffee. So I'm going to loop back down to get myself into some open area. Yep, that's what I think I'm gonna do. Nice open spot so I don't get dripping from the trees while I make some coffee and some breakfast because I haven't eaten yet. Look at that. We got blue sky. Coffee time. It's right here. It's some damn good coffee. Look them up online. It's also a worthy cause to support by buying their coffee. It's good though. Very good. Well, I really want to keep wandering up this mountain road, but I'm kind of back into the storm, or at least I'm getting high enough elevation. I'm just in the clouds, and so it's like drizzly. But I just passed a guy coming down, and he had probably about 3 inches of snow, maybe 4 inches of snow, on the hood and roof of his truck. So that tells me that I'm getting pretty close to the snow line and where it snowed last night. Shouldn't really be an issue, but I don't know if I want to go play in the snow. Guess we'll see. Well, howdy there, folks. As you can see, I found some snow, yeah? Couldn't help myself. I just kind of kept going up and up and up, headed for the high country like I always do, even though I knew I shouldn't do it. It's not too bad, though. I mean, there is maybe 4 inches up on top of here and about 2 inches where I'm at right now. We're at about 2,500 feet, so not all that high up. Obviously, though, that means there's a lot of snow getting up into the higher country early. You know, a lot of times I'm up in the 6,000 feet above sea level, keeping in mind I live at sea level, and there's no way I could even get close if I wanted to, which is really disappointing. So glad we got in a lot of those high country wanders and hikes over the course of this summer, because it looks like summer's over for sure, fall's over, and we're moving into winter already. Really pretty spot up here, though. Those meadows behind me, there's a lot of deer that move through here, and so I've got some calls this afternoon, but I have good reception right here thanks to a cell tower. So I prepped my notes, and they're in my pocket, and I'm going to go wander around out in those meadows and check all this fresh snow to see if there's any tracks. Get an idea of how many deer are up in here and what size of deer, and see if maybe there's a buck this year. Anyway, I'm not going to film while I'm doing that because, well, frankly, it's going to be kind of hard dodging through all this like slush and mud and nastiness, and I'm just going to put the phone in my pocket and put my earbuds in for my calls and call it good. Anyway, talk to you when we get off the mountain. Well, folks, as you can see, I'm back down off of the mountain that was all covered in snow. Wandered around a little bit. There are some deer moving through there, which is good to know. That being said, I rolled back down into the valleys, and the fog's rolling in. It started to snow a little bit as I was coming down the mountain, and it is raining lightly down here. So right now I'm just kind of rolling back a little bit closer to the city, actually to a trail I want to hike that's between here and there. We're going to roll up that road and see if it's even open or not, and also what the sky looks like as I get a little bit closer. If the road is open, which is actually doubtful considering all the damage I've seen, we'll camp up there somewhere, we'll hike it in the morning. If the road's out, I'm going to go home. Besides, it's supposed to be like 34 degrees tonight, it's snowing, so yeah, sounds cold. Talk to you later. Alright, well, that sums it up. You can't see it on the video, but I was just up and around that bend there, and there's a gigantic log down across the trail. I should say tree. Yep, I think even if I had a winch, that one wouldn't be moving. All that jabbering aside, thank you much for joining me on yet another journey. Catch you on the next one.